It's episode 26 and the national championship is over. So for college basketball, for those of you guys who did not watch the game, the Virginia Cavaliers beat the Texas Tech Raiders 85-77. We got a whole bunch of NBA drama. The NBA playoffs actually start as of tomorrow morning. And we got a little bit of NFL for you guys. And for those of you who are watching on video, we have a special occasion with I got a visor on. It's like a weekly take version. So if you guys want to check that out, it's just, I didn't want a product place in my podcast, so I had to tape some stuff onto this. It looks ridiculous. But back to business here. I'm joined by just myself today on episode 26, and I would love to talk about college basketball real quick. Virginia lost last year to a big heartbreak. They were actually a 1 seed last year, and they lost to a 16 seed. And right after that day, I feel like they wanted to win even more than anybody else was. They looked like they just wanted the game more. Daniel Hunter was just shooting out. He was tearing it up, to be honest with you guys. He's one of those guys that leaps off the TV when you're watching. He's a fantastic player, and to be honest, I'm not much of a college basketball guy until March, really. I've been trying to get into it a little more, but Virginia just in overtime when you score 17 points and the other team scores 9 and you're able to outscore them that much, it just shows, and I'm looking at the field goal percentage. They were 27 for 59, Virginia, and then Texas Tech was 27 for 63. They were pretty close to each other. Texas Tech had more shots off the ball. Their shooting was just all the same. Their free throw percentage was identical, 86 to 87. But it came down to making the free throws because Virginia made 20 out of 23 and Texas Tech was 13 for 15. Yes, the same, percentage-wise, they were roughly the same, but when you get those calls and those points add up. So, look, they had 7 points alone just from free throws in the difference. And I'm not saying the refs were the reason, they got the fouls. They could have been, the defense was playing differently too. But, you count up those points, 77 to 85, that's 8 points, and they had 7 more free throws. That's, you give them those free throws, they make 6 of them. It's a 2-point game. At the end of the game, Texas Tech has the ball, and they're able to get it to David Moretta. He could probably make that 3. Texas Tech could be the winners. But on another note, college basketball is now over. Virginia, congratulations to them winning the national championship. I know this is a little late. It happened on Monday, and we are recording this on Friday, a day late than usual. I apologize for that. But Cam Reddish also declared for the draft on Duke. He's a big player on that team to propel them to how they were in Duke. Sadly, they lost to Michigan State. And here's the thing. I was talking to my friend Thomas about this. If it was UNC and Duke, the views on the national championship would have been doubled. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to watch national championship regardless of who it is. But if it was UNC and Duke, I guarantee you the ticket prices would have went up and all that. And that is mostly my friends talking right there. They were spitting out some facts in that situation because if UNC was out there, you best believe, every famous person's going to go to the game. And I know Patrick Mahomes was there and I know a lot of people went, but still, if those two powerhouse teams made it, it would have been a lot more interesting to watch, I feel like. Because this game was pretty good until overtime. There was no really bad calls, to be honest with you. I wasn't really oh shit, this is like a Saints-Rams, call kind of game. It was actually pretty lenient. And, the team that played Auburn shouldn't have jumped in Virginia's way on that 3-point and gave him that guy to go sink those 3 because he looks like he was pretty money on those things. So that's the thing. Virginia, congratulations to them. But moving on to the NBA. The NBA playoffs start tomorrow. And if you guys watch or if you guys are on Bleacher Report, they actually just released Game of Zones. That is like a Game of Thrones edition of NBA. Here's the thing about Game of Thrones, this last episode we just had. It was a little too much. We get Jimmy Butler's not a good locker room guy, but it was 3 minutes of bashing on it. And it's my friend even said, that's lazy writing. Totally looking at the wrong thing here. My video just stopped recording. Sorry about that, but Audio didn't. But, that's the thing is just like with that lazy writing, it's just a little weird to see and how much effort they put into that for this. Like, I'm not much of a 76er fan, and I was just like, okay, are we going to switch timelines to like someone more interesting, a team more interesting? And it didn't really happen. But I'm glad Game of Zones is back. It's a very fun, entertaining show Bleacher Report has. Go check it out. But moving on to that, the playoffs are set. We got Golden State going against the Los Angeles Clippers, Houston against Utah, Portland against OKC, Denver against San Antonio. So I'm going to run down I'm just going to give you guys my playoff bracket of who I think is going to win. So to start off, let's just start this off and get the annoyance out of the way. Golden State is going to sweep LA, so that moves them on to the next part. Then we got Houston, Utah. Houston is the 4th seed, and Utah is the 5th seed. I think Utah is going to 4-2 the Rockets. And that could be a hot take, and that could not be a hot take to some. But I just really trust, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert against James Harden and the Chris Paul. Like, I'm not hating on them, but I just truly believe that Utah could win this series, and I think they might want it a little more. So we're not going to see Houston and Golden State into the Western Conference Finals. We would see them in the divisional round. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. I don't think Chris Paul is going to elevate them to a higher level. PJ Tucker and Eric Gordon were playing at a different level last year as to now. And I just don't see him being a powerhouse. And yes, they are like up there, but I think Utah is going to give Golden State a little more of a run for their money. I'm not saying, Houston wouldn't do a good job if they do manage to win the series, but I'm picking Utah. Going into the next thing, we got Portland against OKC. I'm going OKC 4-1. I've never really been a fan of the Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard has been getting crossed up by Russell Westbrook his whole career. I just don't see that. Steven Adams is going to crash the boards. Paul George is going to flip the switch into the playoffs. I just think OKC is the stronger team in this series. So that's my take on that. Moving into the San Antonio Spurs against the Denver Nuggets. And here is the hot take of the week. I got the San Antonio Spurs winning this series 4-2, and here is why. DeMar DeRozan is very familiar with the playoffs, and a lot of people like to say he shrinks, but he's not playing LeBron right now. The thing is, we got LaMarcus Aldridge. I know I'm a little biased here, but I truly believe that this 2-seed Denver Nuggets team is not as scary as people think they are, and I think the San Antonio Spurs are going to shock the world, and it's going to be 4-2. Spurs play the Oklahoma City Thunder in the next round, and to start off with that, I have OKC beating the Spurs in that round, but I think the Spurs can pull off this upset and move on to the second round. So I have OKC winning that, going to the Western Conference Finals. I just think in the grand scheme of things, OKC against San Antonio, they're way more fast-paced over in the Thunder, and I think nobody can really guard Russell Westbrook. Adams and Aldridge is going to be a good matchup, but I just really think that the depth behind it, OKC with Nerlens Noel and Dennis Schroeder and all those guys, Raymond Felton even comes in and hits a couple good threes. They're going to be a good bench team to go against, and I think OKC is going to the Western Conference Finals to play Golden State. Big surprise here. I don't think Utah can beat Golden State, but I think it's going to go 4-2. I think Utah takes 2. Maybe some like gimme games like after Golden State's up 3. So in that case, I got Golden State beating OKC 4-1. They do match up good against them though. Russell Westbrook against Steph, Paul George against Clay, Steven Adams against their bigs, whoever they put in, Iggy, Draymond, Boogie. It's going to be a good matchup. Dennis Schroeder can come in and make some shots, but, again, here is the thing. They have 5 All-Stars: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, and DeMarcus Cousins are their death lineup. It's just, they got Iguodala, Bell. It's just a little too much as any other team sports, So I got Golden State moving into the Western Conference Finals. On the Eastern side of things, though, we got Milwaukee playing the 8th seed Detroit Pistons. Sorry, Pistons. I don't have any faith in you guys at all. I think Milwaukee will sweep you guys. Giannis is playing at a different level. Chris Middleton is playing fantastic. Brook Lopez was a fantastic signing by this team. I just think it's going to be 4-0. Moving into that, we have the 4th and 5th seeds playing Boston and Indiana. If Indiana had Victor Oladipo, I would give them the edge against Boston, but I think Boston will win this 4-1. I think Pacers snag one. They are a very, very good defensive team that could stop them. But again, I can name like 5 guys on Boston, Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Khalid looking guy, Brown, and then, Jason Terry. They got Markieff Morris. Actually, I think both of them are gone, but they have Smart. They have a good team. Let alone, I had these guys' names off the tip of my tongue earlier. Moving into that, so that means it gives us to the next round: Boston, Milwaukee. But in the first round, we still have Philly and Brooklyn. I think Philadelphia is too stacked for Brooklyn to come in and do anything. I think Brooklyn maybe snags one. Actually, I don't even think they snag one. I think Philly sweeps Brooklyn. So Philly moves on. Toronto sweeps Orlando. It's very top-heavy in the East. I have all the top seeds winning. No upsets at all in the first round. Moving into that, I got Milwaukee going to Game 7 with Boston. Moving on to the finals, I just think Giannis is an unguardable player, and I just think they're playing at a different level. They're the number 1 seed in the whole league. They have the best record in the whole league, so they're obviously playing at a big level. Moving into that, Toronto, Philly, Kawhi Leonard, dude, is not going to get stopped right now, and Philly, I just don't think they have the players to do it though. It could be a very good series, but I think it's going to be 4-2 Toronto. Toronto goes into play Milwaukee. And I think, honestly, the veterans and the experience play in Toronto's favor. And I think Toronto goes to the finals and they play Golden State. I just think, Kawhi Leonard will be able to handle Giannis. Danny Green will be on the outside. Nubois is going to do great. Serge Ibaka. They have Van Fleet isn't even in Toronto. They have a good team in Toronto. I don't think they're going to get stopped. Golden State, Toronto in the finals. Golden State wins 4-2. Kevin Durant is literally unguardable. You could put Kawhi Leonard on him. You could put anyone on him. He's going to score 30, especially in a high-stakes situation. Steph Curry just got new contact lenses. Klay Thompson's arguably the second-best shooter of all time. Second-best shooter in our era, at least behind Steph. You got Draymond Green, who's going to be able to come in and lock up somebody. DeMarcus Cousins, who they're going to be putting against Marc Gasol. It's going to be a good matchup. Maybe I think Toronto takes 2 of them. But I think Golden State wins 4-2. And that is the NBA playoffs for you guys. We've had a lot of stuff go on in the NBA so far. We had the Jimmy Butler Wolves drama, the Luka versus Trey stuff, KD Draymond fight. That was a big thing. We had Harden scoring the highest PPG since points per game since Michael Jordan. Rondo punched Chris Paul. D Rose turned back the time on Halloween. The AD drama with LeBron. We had Kristaps Porzingis going to Dallas. The D'Lo breakout. The big baller brand catastrophic event, and then Russ is another triple-double season. The NBA has been crazy this year, and I've loved every second of it. And the thing is about the AD drama is he's definitely going to leave the Pelicans. And do you blame the guy? He's in New Orleans with no help. They have Drew Holiday, Julius Randle, I know. But it's okay, at that player's caliber, you got to get out of there because that's exactly what Kevin Garnett did. He was in the Timberwolves for 10 years, and he's like, I got to go, get something. Because if Kevin Garnett didn't win championships, let's be honest, he wouldn't be the player he is today, let alone get the recognition he got today. And I'm not saying he wasn't a big part of that team because when Kevin Garnett left to Boston, he was a huge piece in that. Ray Allen and Rondo and Paul Pierce, that team. Big Baby Davis was on the team. They had a good team in Boston, and he was able to elevate his career and just really be a big force for this team. So I really do believe AD should go leave and play with someone like LeBron or go to a big market team and get some help that people want to go play for. Nobody really wants to go play in New Orleans. It's nothing bad about New Orleans. It's just a small market team. And when you're a big market player like Anthony Davis, you need to exploit that and get out there and try to go for a shot at the ring, because right now you're only getting older. Everyone's getting older as it is. You're not getting any younger as much as you like to hope. It's not going to happen in the NBA, especially player, Injuries could happen. A lot of things can happen in this type of thing. AD's got to get out of LA, or get to LA and get out of New Orleans. Back to the whole Rondo punch Chris Paul. That was crazy in the beginning of the year. Here's the thing. This year has been the leading year of technical fouls in the NBA. Maybe it's because people like to get a little more attention from technical fouls in that situation, or I don't know how it's like the way they like to do things. But it's a little like embarrassing to see how it's kind of happened like that. A lot of people like to be more ruthless and rude and stuff like that. Like, honestly, my take is I don't even think NBA players, NFL players, baseball players, hockey players, college basketball players, pickleball players should be even talking to the ref. I don't think it's cool. It's just a little old. It's like, dude, they're doing their job. I know you're playing, say you're basketball, you're playing 5-on-5 versus the refs too. But you can't, you yelling at the ref is not going to benefit you in any way. When has someone yelled at a ref and got, the ref's like, you know what, you're right. I'll change that call. 1 in maybe 100 times. Michael Jordan was able to do it to a ref. He's that was a foul, and the ref came up to him. He's is that a foul, Michael? I trust you. And this guy totally trusted him. That's not cool. I just think players should not be talking to the refs at all. That's just my take. A lot of people believe, you can't be censoring people, blah, blah, blah. But I just truly think that refs shouldn't be badgered by players. It gets old. It's just gross to see in a league, especially when you got kids watching. And that brings up the whole Russell Westbrook drama that happened this year with the fans and all of this. And Kyle Korver came out and said in the Players Tribune that he relates to the fans more than he does with his own teammates sometimes. And it could be a race thing. It could be something. And I'm not trying to get it political, but the thing is when you're a fan, you're just so involved into the game, and some players take it so offensively, but this is all they have. They're into it 150% into what is going on. And some players don't take it like that. Sometimes they're so involved in the game that they're going to talk shit. And I'm not condoning it, but it just gives you a little sense of room to empathize with the fans. Them talking shit is the only way they could get into it as much as they're into it, if that makes sense to some people. The NBA has been fantastic this year. I was a huge fan. There's a lot of trades, and I just didn't want it to end, but we're getting to the best part of it, which is the playoffs, and it's going to be very exciting, although I think Golden State is going to just mob their way through. If the Clippers beat Golden State, I will eat a shoe. I will do something crazy. I'll go jump in water at midnight or something for you guys. I do not. If Golden State loses first round, I'll jump in the water at midnight back home. I'll tape it and everything. I'll post it, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So moving on, we got head coaches moving on from parting ways from their teams. We got Luke Walton, who just stepped down. We got Larry Drew, Dave Joerger from the Kings, and Larry Drew is from the Cavs. For those who I forgot to mention that. There's a lot of coaches right now that are on the hot seat, and Luke Walton was on the hottest seat in sports with LeBron. I don't blame them for firing him, but I also am dude, what could have he had done? He had LeBron out for 26 games. You had all these injuries. Do you really blame the guy? Yes, they were favored to be in the Western Conference Finals as soon as LeBron went, but come on, that guy can't be the scapegoat for everything. I feel like the player should take some recognition, but that never happens, and the coach will get the high seat of it like he did, like Tyronn Lue did in Cleveland. People are saying he's the best coach in the NBA, blah, blah, blah. He leaves, LeBron leaves, and they're the second worst team in the league. And how much of that is LeBron leaving and how much of that is Tyronn Lue leaving? Mostly I'm saying it's because LeBron left, to be honest with you, but Tyronn Lue had some game plans, and here's the thing. The first thing that Luke Walton said, or Magic Johnson said, which I thought was idiotic, we're going to use LeBron not in the way Tyronn Lue used them. We're going to do a different approach. So you're not going to use the way Tyronn Lue used them to get to the finals consecutive years. So you're going to use him a different way. I don't get it. You have this player. Why don't you use him to his best potential instead of trying to get your young guys? Because LeBron is older as it is. He's not going to turn back the times and be the LeBron he was against Miami in the Spurs series. It's not like that. He's going to get older and he's going to need time off maybe. He is one of the most conditioned athletes in sports, I believe. But even him, he's going to get older day by day, just like everyone else in the NBA. So might as well maximize that 4 years you have him instead of just tanking that 1 year. Now you're down to 3. Or you're like, okay, we got 3 years with LeBron. Say they don't get someone this year in free agency, they're down to 2. He's getting older. It's just that's my take on it. Magic Johnson actually just did step down as the president. And again, it's the biggest spot when you have LeBron on your team. That stress of just being the best player or the best team, best organization is going to happen. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, oh, okay, we'll get him, then we'll be good, then we're good. It's not like that at all. If you're not in the finals, you got all the LeBron blind witness fans. You got all the fans coming out of their holes to say something negative, like, oh, I could be a better owner than Magic Johnson. It's going to happen. We got a bunch of bums on our team because of Magic Johnson. You become the number one reason why you're bad. And everyone holds LeBron to the high standard. It's not his fault. It's everybody else's fault. And that's just how it happens, And I don't blame, I feel like that's the same thing over in Green Bay and the NFL side of things. It's just like in sports, when you have a player of that caliber, it's going to be everyone else's fault but theirs. The last thing I got for the NBA is Mike Conley is not interested in a Grizzlies rebuild. Do you blame the guy? He's been in the Memphis Grizzlies. They trade away Marc Gasol, his only other veteran good player, and they're like, all right, we're going to rebuild now. Mike Conley's like, I want to win now. Like, hey, man, I'm 33 years old, and all these other guys are joining teams and getting rings, and I'm not going to – I already lead this team in points, assists, and I think it's points and assists that he leads the team in. And they're not doing anything else to help him. So he's like, I'm not interested in a rebuild. And I don't blame him. I think he should leave too. If LA can get Mike Conley, Kawhi Leonard, Los Angeles Lakers will be looking nice. But I'm not saying Mike Conley is the savior. But if they get – the thing is with LA, and I hate to keep bringing it back to LA, but everyone is an LA fan and everyone loves the LA drama. Because it's the number one place that free agency is going to happen this year. Say, Kawhi Leonard says, all right, I'm leaving Toronto. I'm going to be with LeBron. Kawhi and LeBron, that's not enough. They still need a B-list star. They need a Kemba Walker, a Mike Conley to come in and help. And if he comes in and he's that last piece that they need, I think it could happen. So I just believe, I hope Mike Conley leaves. I've been a Mike Conley fan for a long time. He's one of my favorite players, actually, of all time. I like his game, and I love everything about Mike Conley, but he needs to get out of Memphis. And because Marc Gasol is out of there, he needs someone to make a shot when he swings it out, because a lot of time he'll swing it out and it's just like a brick, man. It's just, man, I'm not hating on Memphis, but he needs some help. Moving in to the NFL side of things for the last part of the show, we got Odell Beckham Jr. just saw the schedule and he tweeted, just seen the schedule. It's funny how God and the universe works. Week 1 is a surprise. So Odell is spoiling the schedule, creating drama, and I like it. I like it when players kind of bring this intensity. Odell's, I don't know if he's really upset that he, got traded from New York. Obviously, he's going to miss it, but this is going to be a good week 1 matchup if they play New York. He could be just hyping it up, but I really believe that this is true, and Cleveland is going to play New York, and I am very excited, and I kind of like it when he kind of does that kind of stuff. And a lot of people, oh, well, he shouldn't be spoiling the schedules because that's the NFL. Dude, the NFL is fucking fine. Quit sticking up for the NFL. The NFL is making probably the most money in any sports organization besides the fucking soccer leagues and on the other side of the world. They're fine. Don't stick up for the man and, oh, well, the NFL. I don't want to hear that. Let the players do what the fuck they want. In that situation, not in any other reason. I'm not, condoning violence or nothing like that. I'm just talking let them have fun for a little bit. We even have celebrations in the NFL for fucking 10 years. So, I like what they're going. They're going in a better direction, I think. Jets new uniforms. I really do like the Jets new uniforms. When I first looked at them, I tried to hate them for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just I was feeling negative that day. But I really do like them. It's a new face for them. They got Le'Veon Bell, Sam Darnold, and they got C.J. Mosley now. And they have this new picture, and I think this new picture of the Jets is going to help them a lot. And I really do like the picture logos, or not the logo, the new uniforms of this team. I think they're really cool. My favorite is probably the black ones. The white ones are cool too, and the green ones are cool too. I think it's cool when a team gets new uniforms. Speaking of new uniforms, and I know we're on the NFL, but I need to go back to this. A team that needs to change their damn uniforms is the Atlanta Hawks. I'm sick and tired of this neon green. Has anyone seen a neon green Hawk? Go back to red and black and red, black, and white as your colors. I don't want to see no beehives, no insect-looking. You're not the Hornets. You're the fucking Atlanta Hawks. Get rid of the neon green. Go back to black and red, throwback-looking jerseys, and I feel like people will respect you more. I'm tired of this lime green shit. That's my hot take on the Atlanta Hawks jerseys. I love the Atlanta Hawks. That's why I like to say that. Moving back into the NFL, Antonio Brown is probably one of the most idiotic guys I've seen in the NFL so far. He's a great player, probably a great person behind this stuff, but right now I feel like he's actually going through some shit where he's trying to hate on Juju Smith-Schuster, a former receiver on the Pittsburgh. They were both receivers on the Pittsburgh Steelers, for those of you who do not know that. So Antonio Brown was the number one receiver in Pittsburgh for a long time. Juju Smith comes in, and starts getting more touches, more touchdowns, and AB starts getting vocally upset. He goes Facebook Live, and the whole locker room's in shambles, and then he leaves to Oakland. Fast forward to that. And then he's like, oh, well, Juju fumbled in the biggest game of the year. And then he screenshotted like when Juju Smith reached out to him and he's like, hey, AB, is there any way you could teach me to get better at receiving? I'd love to learn from you, on an Instagram DM. And he posted it and he like was trying to bash on him for it. And it's just like he's reaching out to like his fan, like an idol of his, and you're going to bash him for that? So everyone, that's the whole AB drama. He's just kind of hating on the younger receiver in Pittsburgh. And I think it's just because he's truly going to miss being in Pittsburgh, because he's going to get 6 wins in Oakland, and he's going to be in the middle of the road. He's playing with the worst quarterback. As much as I hate to admit it, as a Ravens fan, Ben Roethlisberger is a great quarterback. He's better than Derek Carr. So I just think he's making this idiotic move. He's only making himself look stupid, and I just don't think that's cool to just hate on someone for no reason just because you're butthurt and you're like, you know what, I'm going to be a dick today. That just doesn't work. So he's making himself look dumb. Any of you guys have seen the AB drama, you guys will know what I'm talking about. Giants extend Sterling Shepard to 4 years, $41 million. I think this is a great signing. Sterling Shepard's always been a great receiver over there. He's been doing great things. He's the only receiver they really got there right now. Odell is gone. That's a big hole. Saquon Barkley's still there, but Sterling Shepard's going to be solely probably their number one unless they could sign a big player, and I don't know if they're really going to sign anyone huge. Actually, let me look really quick. I think Golden Tate is going to New York. Golden Tate is on the New York Giants now. I forgot to keep that in mind. But that is a good signing as well, Golden Tate to New York. But moving into the next part, the Giants are going to be probably on the bottom of the road this year. But I'm not hating. I love the Giants, and I'd love to see them go far in the NFC East this year. According to Bleacher Report, Aaron Rodgers was not 100% last season, and that is like saying the sky is blue. The sky isn't blue during the day. Like, duh, we know he wasn't 100%. He was limping against the Bears, and he came out, and then he did his magic. He needs some help. Speaking of help, that's who needs some damn help. This guy has had Devontae Adams is some help. That, he is a top 5 receiver. And I even think, even if he were to leave Green Bay, which I don't think he's going to, he would still be a top tier receiver. Like, Jordy Nelson, he was in the middle of the road when he went to Oakland. Donald Driver, Greg Jennings were very great receivers when they were there too. But I just think he needs like a running back, some help, and I think that could happen, but give this guy at least a break on defense, sign someone on defense to help this guy out. You get this guy like a mediocre defense, not even like a bad one, and he's going to make something happen. If they can get a couple stops so he doesn't have to score every drive and that constant pressure, I think they'll be fine. Fournette arrested with a suspended license. This was a couple of days ago. Leonard Fournette, who's the running back of the Jacksonville Jaguars, recently was arrested for a suspended license. At this point, dude, just get someone to drive you around. There's nothing much you can really say about that. Ty Montgomery just recently signed with the Jets to back up Le'Veon Bell. He was a former Raven, and that's a pretty good signing for the New York Jets, I believe. He's going to come in, and if Le'Veon gets hurt, I think he's a solid backup if they could use him right. But that does it for episode 26 of the Weekly Take podcast. Again, we're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud. I post to Facebook, and I also post to Instagram. If you guys are ever confused on where to find me, it's mostly Weekly Take or Weekly Take podcast on either or. If you guys have any questions, send them into the show. Ask me personally. If you guys want to be on the show, more importantly, let me know. I have another mic. Literally, I'm looking at it, and nobody's even there. A lot of people like to, get busy, and I understand that. But if you're not busy and you would love to talk some sports, if you want to talk pickleball, you want to talk MMA, you want to talk golf, you want to talk bowling, I'd love to talk about it, man. It's just not my area of expertise. So that's why I would love to bring someone who knows what they're talking about and interview them and ask them, why are you into MMA? Why are you into bowling? Because that's what I'm about, man. And I just want you guys to know I'm so thankful for you guys to watch the show. This is a video version. I hope you guys enjoy the video version. I'm going to try to get more videos in here. But thank you once again. This has been episode 26 of the Weekly Take podcast. I'm Dominic Joseph, and have a fantastic day.